Well, speaking of not hearing the crowd, in the Casino Battle Royal, why will they not stop? There's never been a good one. And it's the rules are ridiculous and overcomplicated. And when I know his name's Justin Roberts, but I'm looking at my notes. I wrote Jason Robards read the ridiculous, goofy rules.
How dare you, sir?
Jason Robards.
How dare you? One of the great actors of all time.
Then nobody. What the fuck? So anyway, the first guys are Trent, Daniels, Hager, Blade, and Felix. And I swear to God, I'm getting a horrible gas pain bubbling up just reliving this. And it was five guys doing shit to each other that I don't know that they think anybody wants to see a battle royal on television, much less pay-per-view these days, especially with these rules, is puzzling to me. It's not a Royal Rumble where at least you don't have the ring all cluttered up. It's just mismatched guys in a battle royal punching and kicking. And the goofy ones take bumps that are green and don't know any better, which is a good way to break your fucking leg or whatever. The only thing in the first segment of time, I thought Chris Daniels must owe Jake Hager trans because he was just fucking throwing him and beating him everywhere. And then they don't even, at least they could have cleared out the ring before. Here comes five more fucking people. And I didn't even keep track of the eliminations mostly because why? Who gives a shit? But Will Hobbs, Fuck Taylor, Santana, and Ortiz, and they lucked into the draw, the partners, together, and Kazarian, and it was more of the same thing. And it just gets more crowded. And then here comes Billy Gunn with the next draw of the card in the next time period. What is Pentagon's name now?
He lost the rights to Pentagon Jr., or the rights are not going to be used by AEW. It is now Penta something Cero M. I forget what it is. It's Penta.
What
something.
If it sounds like a fucking Russian bot Twitter handle.
I don't know what the M is. That's the part I don't get at all.
Penta came out. Ricky Starks and Brian Cage come out together. So both those tag partners drew the cards, and Darby Allin. And Darby comes in with his skateboard. And at least he picked the energy level up a little bit in this meat chopping fest. But he does his skateboard shots, and then, okay, that's over with. Then the butt buddies, Fuck Taylor and Trent, hugged in the middle of the Battle Royal, and so they could do their camera zoom, and the pace suddenly went glacial in this whole thing. And then Sean Spears comes out on the next group and went to the announce desk and put the headset on and started talking. And he doesn't have to go to the ring. He came out first and he could just wander over there and talk for a while. There's nobody making him try to get in the ring.
Someone and then conveniently left that headset just at the edge of the table.
Well, yes.
In case someone came over. Yeah.
That was the A2. And then here comes Eddie Kingston and Butcher and Sonny Kiss and Lance Archer. And they have an opportunity here with Lance Archer, and even the announcers try to say, boy, at one point or another, wow, Murder Hawk Lance Archer's looking dominant. Kiss came in with some really embarrassing punches. Go back and watch this, kids, and tell me I'm being too hard on Sonny Kiss when I say that he does not need to be a professional wrestler. And then Sonny Kiss eliminated Jake Hager. Did you see that? If I would love to have seen who told Jake Hager that, and I would have loved to have seen how they talked him into it, or if he immediately just said yes because he's an idiot. They keep trying to build these monsters, and then they are unmolested with no extra help, just eliminated by job guys. And they couldn't even figure out a way that if Hager was going out, it could be Archer. They couldn't have Archer and Hager get some of the crap out of this ring like Sonny Kiss and goddamn fucking whoever the fuck else, the best friends, and then meet the two big guys and make a point out of something. I remember when Diesel made the fucking impact in the Royal Rumble. Remember when every fucking giant that they tried to push in a Royal Rumble or in a Battle Royal, it's an easy spot to do. Let him fucking toss out some of the underneath talent, especially if they're coming in stages. I'd have put the first 10 guys in there for the first 6 or 7 minutes or whatever it was, just so Lance Archer or Jake Hager, either one could have come out and eliminated them all. Then at least you've got somebody over, and then you send some more in there to fuck the thing up. Speaking of which, the Joker card proved prophetic for poor Matt Sydal. In a metaphor for this whole entire match, poor Matt Sydal, the last entrant, and he's a good kid. Last entrant comes out, goes up to the top rope to do... Here's the thing. The guy that was laying in the fucking ring was knocked down by someone else. Why would anybody, Matt Sydal or anybody else, come out, climb up to the top rope and expect the guy to be out for however long when he wasn't even out when the guy was just laying there? He doesn't know how he got there. He wasn't out yet. He just climbs to the top and he's going to do a twisting, flipping splash onto this fucking guy that just happens to be laying there.
A shooting star press.
Whatever the fuck it was. Why would you? It didn't work out. His right foot slipped off the top rope and he went up and half a turn and landed on his fucking head practically. And missed the guy. The only part of Sydal that hit the guy he was landing on was his foot. And the guy sold that because he's, oh shit. And then the guy immediately rolls over next to him and hugs him like he's his wounded war veteran buddy. And he's seeing if he's still alive on camera. Then I wrote, why are there still so many guys in the ring in this clusterfuck? And then the fireworks went off from somewhere down the street. Somewhere down the street, a huge fireworks display went off that you could see because they're in an outdoor, and you could hear because they're in an outdoor arena. And the people popped for that. And then, here we go. Brian Cage got a body bag and dumped hundreds and hundreds of thumbtacks into the body bag, put Darby Allin in the body bag, zipped it up, picked him up, and threw in a black body bag, and threw him over the top rope onto the hard stage in the bag filled with thumbtacks. Is that what I saw? Is that what you saw? That's what I saw.
That was so irresponsible, yes.
So at that point, I determined two things. Number one, I've been on the fence about Darby Allin because I think he's a great gimmick and he's got the underdog appeal and et cetera, but holy fuck, the more I see and hear of him as a human being, the more I would think he's just a complete idiot. I've got my answer here. Fuck you, Darby Allin. You're a complete fucking idiot. You're just a fucking goof. And if somebody had asked me to do that to them, I would have looked at them like they had turds hanging out of their mouth and told them to get off the goddamn drugs. And if there was any professional in charge of this show, they would have told this kid the same thing. But as we will find out later on, no professionals are in charge of the making of this goddamn sketch comedy program. So once the bag spot happened, I fast forwarded to the finish because why the fuck watch any more of this after that? And Archer won by tossing Kingston out, but the finish was fucked up because Jake jumped his cue to scare Kingston with the snake bag that there's no snake in, which is why you never see the snake.
Well, by the way, how bad was that? The announcers said that Eddie Kingston is afraid of snakes.
Have we been told this before?
No, not that I'm aware of. And again, we don't watch their bullshit B show on YouTube. And then Jake just holds the bag in the direction of Eddie Kingston, who really didn't sell it like he was all that scared to begin with.
But did you go back and watch it again? The first time Jake shows him the bag, he jumped the queue because they were going to do something else, and Kingston takes his foot and kicks Jake away like, not now, motherfucker. And then whoever's on the apron where they were doing the other fucking thing that they were going to do, then they got that finished, and then Jake holds the bag up, and Kingston looks down in the open bag and sees the imaginary snake and is distracted. And then fucking Archer, god awful, just fucking god awful. This whole thing. Anyway.
And it telegraphed the finish of the main event. You knew it wasn't going to be MJF against Lance Archer.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. And the winner got a title shot. Of course. Well, shit. I didn't think about that. I was so fucking just glad for this thing to be over. I forgot what the guy won. Well, it's always nice to know, that who's going to win the fucking main event, which may be the only match people give a shit about. We're not there yet. Did I miss anything in this?
No, it was awful. It was garbage. It certainly points out the issues with the roster. This reminded me of, it's like the Royal Rumble in maybe 98, where you had some top guys in there like Steve Austin, and I think Steve Austin won that year. You had like Steve Austin, and you had, like Ken Shamrock and Cactus Jack. But then you had, I guess I should say Mankind. But then you had, actually that's the year Mankind was in there 3 times with 3 different characters, and that's kind of the point. You had all these guys that no one cared about. The DOA, various wrestlers.
Well, but, I got to be honest with you, comparing any of those guys to a lot of these guys, though, is insulting to those guys. I mean, for fuck's sake, this reminded me more of the Dennis Coralluzzo who sold a bunch of tickets, so we'll put them in a battle royal match.
That's not a bad comparison. I mean, it's always been the freak show battle royal when they do this, and that's what it was. There were only a handful of people you could actually see winning this thing. It was bad. The Matt Sydal clip will live on in infamy. That is, I feel bad for the guy. That's the most embarrassing debut. Too. That's the most embarrassing debut I've ever seen. The first thing he does is that shooting star press. And going into our earlier comments, after this, I said, you know what? That Bucks match was all right. I didn't mind that. What?
Wait a minute. I know one debut that was even worse. Because Sydal got back up. Remember I told you Glenn Coca, that football player, the Canadian Football League, that they had signed to early developmental in like 98. Tom Pritchard had a hand in training him up in the at the studio in Stamford before we got the developmental territory set up, and he ends up, they book him on a show in Canada in either where he played or maybe near his hometown. He's a local hero or whatever. His place is packed, a couple thousand people in his gym. He's so fired up. He gets in the ring. He jumps up on the turnbuckles and throws his arms up in the air, and the people cheer like crazy. And he jumps off and he lands in the ring and he breaks his fucking leg. Goes down right there. Boom. That's it. They carted him out.
How would you compare this debut to the debut of the Shockmaster on WCW's Flair for the Gold?
Well, this actually was even more spectacular, but nobody got a bone broken. So I could fucking.
And another match where the announcers aren't taking anything seriously.
How can you?
Because it's their job. No matter what they're seeing, they need to be. Terry Funk said it. The announcer is the most important part of a wrestling broadcast. You have one guy who's taking it well, I shouldn't even say that. Excalibur takes it seriously to a nerd degree. Shivani's just sitting there having a good time. Jim Ross has checked the fuck out. He does not give a shit what he says. And I just watched the first episode of Mid-South Wrestling that he did in 1983. He debuted on Mid-South TV in 82, and then he was off TV for like a year. And they brought him back finally at the end of the summer of 1983. And there's a guy trying really hard, trying to be serious. Obviously, he had Bill Watts. He couldn't fuck up. He's a completely different guy now. If I was in charge, and if I was in charge, there'd be a lot of things done differently.
You think?
I would completely change up the broadcast team. It is not working. They shit on the show every single time out. And this time, they either were shitting on the show, or eventually they just got completely quiet like it was a golf game. Or a golf match. I don't even know what you would call
it. Golf game, golf match, golf fight.
Golf tournament.
You know what? You can call it shitting on the show, or you can call it smelling shit and recognizing it. They got to have something to talk about.